In today's video, we talk about the steroid mentality.
All by myself.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com, and today's video is coming to you on Thursday. I've got class in a little while at USF, taking some strength and conditioning. And then after that, I have some special guests coming over. My friends Chris and Eric Martinez, the dynamic duo who are coaches and fitness entrepreneurs, are in town. So they're gonna come by the house. I don't know what we're gonna get up to. Maybe I'll get some of it on film. Might be hard because I'm just by myself, but I definitely have done their podcast before. Really like the stuff that they're doing, just having a good message. So they're gonna come by, we're gonna chat, and we'll just see what goes on from there. But yeah, today's Thursday, so it's a quiet day for me as far as emails and updates go. So I'm all caught up on work a little bit. I'm gonna study, possibly have a test today. But the big thing that I wanna do is talk a little bit about what I mean by the steroid mentality, because the word steroid or steroids or anabolic steroids or anything in that realm kind of gets attention, and it can be negative. And I want to kind of talk about why that topic is on my mind. You see, my YouTube comment section is nowhere near as bad as a lot of people's, but I put some measures in place so that you can't really put a lot of negative stuff in there, right? I put some filters in there because I just don't care. I don't want to be associated with negative energy, negative stuff. I don't want to be around it. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm trying to do so much with my life that anything that drags me down, and believe me, when I read a negative comment or I get, it kind of draws you in and sucks you in. And so the other day I got a comment on one of my videos, and I get them quite frequently, and I kind of either remove them or they get blocked. But it basically just said, "You're not trying to claim that you're natural, are you?" And my first inclination is like to get a little upset, because I'm like, what do you mean am I claiming natural? Yeah, I'm claiming natural. I've never done steroids. So by most people's definition, steroids, poor hormones, diuretics, all that stuff, if you've never done that, you are natural. But I don't go around boasting that I'm natural. I compete in drug-free bodybuilding, but I also compete in tested bodybuilding. I don't have a problem with the steroids. What I have a problem with is the steroid mentality. And it bleeds into all areas of life. And I'll tell you why. Because I was once one of these people. So the steroid mentality is this. You see someone that has something you don't have. Money, success, beautiful wife, big house, more muscles, cars, whatever it is that you feel like you envy or want. And you immediately think, this is why. You have more muscle because you do steroids. You have lower body fat because you do steroids. You have a hotter wife because you have a lot of money. You have a successful business because your parents handed it to you. You have a good education because your parents put you through college. That mentality, the idea that other people have things that you don't, or a better life is not attainable because you didn't have the gifts that other people have had, set me back years. Set me back years. Let me tell you a little story. I was in the gym, probably 18, 19, 20 years old. A kid that I went to high school, hadn't seen him in a few years. I had been playing baseball, but I had also been out partying, and I had gone to the gym, 3-4 days a week, and inconsistently, never tracked my diet really, just kind of ate and lifted. So I had made a little bit of progress since high school. I was still, 6'3", 170 pounds probably, but I had put on some muscle, and I felt better about myself. And I saw this kid, and I thought he had put on a ton of muscle, had clearly spent a lot of time in the gym. He had gotten a lot stronger. I remember seeing him lift, and I was like, man, I don't remember him being that strong. He was tall like myself as well. And immediately the people around me started saying, oh yeah, but I heard he did steroids. Oh yeah. And immediately when you hear that, you just discount everything else. And it's taken me years to get past that approach. And let's talk a little bit about the impact that steroids have on a physique. Obviously, you can put on lean body mass. You can change your physiology. The DNA of your body actually changes when you take steroids, when you inject exogenous hormones. And that's not disputed. What's disputed right now is kind of the benefits versus the risks. And when I was growing up, I'll be honest, I grew up in the anti-steroid era. It's for cheaters. They're not good for you. They give you brain cancer. They do all these negative things to you. But slowly, the tide is shifting, and steroid culture has kind of changed in the United States, where the benefits are no longer being outweighed by the positives when you do them the right way. Let me tell you why. My best friend since my freshman year of college, he was the best man at my wedding. There was years where I didn't not see him for a single day. Years. He got a diagnosis a couple years ago with testicular cancer. So they had to remove one of his testicles. What happens when that happens? The other testicle produces more testosterone. So his testosterone numbers actually increased. Well, a year later, got another diagnosis. The second testicle had a lump on it. They had to remove it. That was a very hard time for me. Both times thinking my best friend's life could be over. And the only thing that really mattered was, okay, they got to take care of this. He caught everything in time. He never had to go through like any really harsh chemo or anything like that. It was just the removal, the radiation. Let's not get into that. Let's not make this an emotional video. But what happens when a man has no testicles? You have to inject exogenous hormones just to have a normal life. Well, my friend is very active. He was a Division I quality tennis player. He plays basketball a couple days a week, plays sports. When he started injecting testosterone at a doctor's orders, something magical happened. He felt better. He felt younger. He played basketball longer. He actually reached out to me and was like, hey dude, I haven't lifted weights in years, but I feel like I need to lift weights because I feel so good that I want to do something that's positive for me. So he had more energy. He started drinking less. And the next time, we hung out, my wife noticed he had put on like maybe 10 to 15 pounds of lean body mass. He's 6'1" and he walks around at like 190. Well, he walks around about 205 now. And I mean, he is a lot denser. And, he started strength training, but the testosterone has just had magical effects on his life. At 42 years old, he acts like we did in college. Now, I think through my lifestyle, I've kind of kept that, right? Like I still feel the same, but I think he was actually starting to feel a little bit less energetic. And so it's actually had such positive impacts on his life. It gets you thinking like, why would I turn something off that could be a benefit in the future? So would I potentially supplement with exogenous hormones in the future? Hell to the yes, if it's going to give me a better quality of life. At this point in my life, I still feel great. My training is awesome. My body composition is great. My energy levels are great. But if I get to a point where it's a problem, and so you can see this shift in mentality for me, and it's not directly about steroids, but when you start to look at all the things in life, when you start to actually look at successful people and what their day-to-day life is like and their habits is like, you realize nothing was handed to them, right? Yes, all of us come from different backgrounds. You can't change that. You can't change who your parents are. You can't change where you were raised. You can't change where you grew up because it's in your past. But you can change the way you think about things. You can change the way that it impacts you on a day-to-day basis. Some of the most successful people I know, and this is without doubt, the most successful people I know had the worst start in life. They had nothing. And it's that motivation day in and day out that gives them the drive. I think one of the things that I had growing up was I had everything I needed. I grew up in a very good environment. Like I had everything I needed as far as education, as far as, I got a car in high school. I went to college. I played baseball on scholarship because, I'd had these opportunities to play travel baseball growing up, and my dad basically bent over backwards to make sure my life was easy. And I think early on that was trouble because I got used to that. And I started making excuses for why other people were successful. When I hit a bad patch where my life wasn't where I wanted it to be, that's when I had to look here. And there's another thing. When you look here, you stop worrying about everybody else. I feel bad for people that have to make comments about what other people have going on in their lives. When someone makes a comment about me saying, you don't claim natural, I immediately just think like, gosh, what is going on in this person's life that's what they're focusing on. They're focusing on other people. Focus on you. Do you. Every problem you have, everything that you want is all inside of you. I don't want to get ranty here, but at 41 years old and having gone through these phases of my life, I can actually tell you that this is the biggest change in my life, is the idea that I am responsible for me and everyone else is responsible for everyone else. Now, I have a wife and I have a son, so I'm responsible for them as well. But my wife empowers me. She's in my life, and my life has become a million times better. She's as driven or more driven than I am with work and career and family and all these things. So I've put myself in a place where I'm in a best position possible, and I'm actually able to impact myself by having a positive attitude. I haven't gotten into, some people get into a bad place where, like, you know what? Responsibilities are responsibilities. You have to meet those. So you can't always pursue these things, but you can always have the better attitude. You can always change the way you're thinking. Don't accuse someone of steroids. You know what's possible? Do you know what the human body is possible of? No, you do not. There are people on this earth that are 7.5 feet tall. There are people on this earth that can bench press 500 pounds naturally, okay? These are just facts. There is a huge variation in the human condition. So why would anyone look at someone and say, oh, they cheated? That's the steroid mentality. They cheated. They took a shortcut. Don't take that attitude. You're cutting yourself short. You're capable of the same things. I'm never going to look like Doug Miller. I'm fine with that. I'm never going to look like Ray Clark. I'm fine with that too. But I sure as hell look a hell of a lot better than I ever looked when I was younger, because I've just put in the work for years and years, right? I might never be as rich as Bill Gates, but that doesn't mean I can't have the same fun as Bill Gates in building a business and enjoying life and pursuing passions and doing these things. You think these billionaires get there just because they were lucky? No, they worked their freaking asses off and they hit a magic thing, like a timing, and it just blew up. But I promise you, when they have those billions of dollars, what the fun is not counting your money at the bank. It's remembering the process and enjoying it. And that's why you see them continually doing more stuff, because it's not the money that they're after, it's the process that they enjoy. It's enjoying the drive. And so if I was to sit around and say, you know what, there's no way Doug Miller's natural, I'm not even gonna try, because why would I try when there's people like that in this earth that cheat? Right away, that mentality, screwed. Like, I would get nowhere in life. Same thing with business. If I was to see people that are rich or have lots of cars and lots of money and think, oh, well, they screw people over to get where they are, or they cheated, or, their parents handed them a trust fund and that's why they're successful. You're immediately turning off your ability to be successful. So, I don't really address stuff like online as far as hate, because I just don't care. It's just so uninteresting to me. And I wanted to get this video out to just discuss that, because it's been on my mind about my shift in mindset. I know I did a video last week on like what changed, and this just goes into that. The steroid mentality to me is just the idea that you kind of discount what other people are capable of or what you're capable of because you assume that they're cheating. And if you assume someone else is cheating, it doesn't impact them at all. When someone goes on YouTube or leaves a comment on a video or whatever I do and says, oh, this guy is on steroids, does that impact me? No, it only impacts that person. That person just has this negative, life going on. I could care less. It's for me, I think that's great. You actually think I could be on steroids. Fantastic. But there's people with physiques a lot better than me that aren't on steroids. And there's people with physiques that are a lot worse than mine that are on steroids, right? If you want to know more about steroids, I've done a video on that, and it's called Muscle Insertions or Muscle Genetics. It has Doug in the thumbnail because obviously Doug's a freak of nature, and I do believe he's drug-free. And I've been around some crazy bodybuilders and powerlifters and people that are drug-free that are just capable of amazing things. And I think the small type of person looks at someone that squats 700 pounds and thinks, oh, there's no way you can do that naturally because I can't do it naturally. And then the bigger person actually goes, you know what? They've got really good leverages. They've got really good, muscle building potential. And they just really work their ass off. And so if all three of those things don't align for you, you might not reach the same thing. But I promise you, if you just hate or be negative, nothing good was ever going to happen in that regard. All right, guys, I want to cut this video off now because I got to study for class, and then I got the twins coming over later. So I'm going to get this video out. Hopefully you guys get my point about the steroid mentality. I'm definitely getting ranty in my old age. Am I not? All right, guys, hopefully it's not bothering you. But let's have a good day, and we'll talk some more nutrition and training stuff in the near future. And I still have a nice announcement to make any day now. Some of you guys have already guessed it. All right, I'll talk to you soon.
All by myself.